Well, hello there, everybody, and welcome back to your intermission. We were just leaving off with our Ahsoka conversation, and we just had to start a new meeting so we could continue on with the conversation. So obviously, if you're going to be watching this on YouTube, this is going to be the second part, because usually the YouTube videos are split between two parts because of just how the way the recording works. Um, but if not, this will still be the same episode on Spotify,
Yeah.
audio-wise. So you'll just hear like a brief break, and then we'll just cut, right back. So. Where we left off, we were talking about the Ahsoka show. I was just closing it out with my final thoughts on it. So, as I was saying earlier, I'm really impressed with all the casting that they did for, the actors when it came to the live action. I am really impressed with who they casted for Thrawn. I think it's great to have the guy who voiced him in Rebels as Thrawn because he looks amazing. All we got was a back shot at first, and then they showed another trailer, and then they showed, what he looks like from the front, and he looks great. Um,
hmm
and the fact that they are consoling with Timothy Zahn, who was the creator of Thrawn and the one who wrote the beloved trilogies and everything on him. Um, that just shows like how much attention to detail they're paying attention to. And we also have a couple of other characters. I like to refer to them as like dark Jedi because we don't know if they're like Sith or if they're Jedi or if they're gray. Obviously, there's a whole new color in the sense of an orange lightsaber. I don't think we've seen a live action orange lightsaber yet.
No.
Um, Dave Filoni said that it was a nod to like the first poster that ever came out for Star Wars: A New Hope. Because if you look at Darth Vader's lightsaber in that poster, his lightsaber is actually orange and not red. But people think that there's obviously a deeper meaning behind it because, for example, we do see an Inquisitor, and obviously we see them have the traditional dual blade red lightsaber. So you see a clear difference in color between the orange lightsaber and the red lightsaber. So there's a lot of theories going out there. I think the characters have names, but it's not confirmed like who they are, what their purpose is. It definitely is like a master and apprentice duo, I believe. So I think you were right with that part. But there are a lot of fan theories out there, and they could be characters from the expanded universe. They could be characters from different timelines. I've heard that Star Wars might be going into kind of like almost like what the MCU is doing, and because they've been showing the world between worlds, that they might be doing like a multiverse where there's like all different timelines, and people are thinking that these characters could be from different timelines. I heard one theory out there saying that the older gentleman is like a different timeline Anakin Skywalker. So I mean, there are there are some like
I
crazy
would hate
theories out
that. I
there.
would honestly hate that.
So I do like the concept though of like a possible multiverse because I think it would be really cool. Plus, it makes sense with the world between worlds because obviously they're like different. It's kind of like different portals to different points in time, but whether or not it could stretch into like multiple timelines or just the same timeline, that will have to be explored. But
Yeah.
overall, looking forward to it. Super excited. It will be cool to see Lothal in person. In person in live action. Because I think the show is basically starting where it ended in the animation. So we do see like a live action shot of Lothal and like that little needle tower that Ezra stayed in. And then we do see the streets of Lothal, and then we even see a Lothal cat, which is pretty cool. And yeah, and I'm looking forward to it. I think it's definitely going to be one of the most highly anticipated Star Wars shows. And I definitely think when it comes to popularity, it's definitely going to be like right up there with the Mandalorian. If they
Yeah.
play their cards right, it's probably going to be even more popular than Mandalorian. So,
It
but
is just
yeah,
crazy to
go ahead.
me how how popular Ahsoka has gotten in the past couple of years. Like pretty much ever since they brought back the final season of Clone Wars, her popularity has shot up so much, and her character is becoming one of the fan favorites amongst Star Wars fans.
I've always enjoyed Ahsoka as a character, so it was
Yeah.
nice to see her get some more love in the seventh season. And then, because you know what, the girl, the voice actress, like Ashley I Eichstein or
hmm
the voice actor that played Ahsoka in the Clone Wars, she basically brought that character to life. Like she is apparently the most sweetest person that you could ever meet in real life. Like I literally saw this clip of somebody that had to be rushed to the hospital that was at celebrations, and they were supposed to meet her, but they had to go to the hospital. So Ashley actually called their phone and checked up on them and was like, "Oh, like hi, so and so, are you okay?" Like, and the person was like, "Yeah, I was supposed to meet you today, but something happened." And then like, so I mean, she's just like overall, she's such a ray of sunshine. And apparently, this Star Wars celebration was the first time that, well, not technically the first time, but the first like full time that her and Rosario Dawson met. Because the first
Yeah,
time they met was actually on set for the Ahsoka show, but this was like the first time that they were actually able to probably spend a lot of time together. Um, so and again, she's just the whole ray of sunshine. I mean, she makes the Ahsoka character like just come to life. So yeah, I mean, like I said, definitely probably the most highly anticipated show, at least in my eyes, and what I'm most looking forward to for the rest of the year, and if not, the rest of the projects that they've announced. So
yeah. I mean, again, it's definitely going to be up there, and I'm excited. But moving on. Excuse me. Next on my list, we have Andor season 2. So that has been confirmed, and apparently it is scheduled for release in 2024. I do not know when in 2024. Um, I can't say much about this because I still have not seen Andor. I
yeah,
really need
so
to.
basically, we don't know much. We know that filming has started. I mean, that's been proven. I mean, there's been clips of people like on TikTok where they did some filming in Spain, and it showed like Cassian and Mon Mothma like running down a street. So it's been confirmed that they were already in production. There is going to be a second and final season, so there's only going to be 2 seasons of Andor, and the end of the show is basically going to correlate to like the beginning of Rogue One. So basically, the end of the show is going to take place like where he gets on the shuttle to like go on that mission, and then like when we first see him in Rogue One.
And
So
I
and we know there's going to be like a little bit of like a time skip. So I think maybe a year has passed from the first season to the second season. And I think they said in some episodes they might time skip. So like there might be like a year that goes by in like each episode or something. Um, but I mean, I guess they have enough material to finish it off in a second season. I think everybody is really anticipating that they bring in K2SO because obviously, if you're a Star Wars comics fan, you see that there is actually like a pretty cool interaction between like K2SO and Cassian, and that's how they meet. And I think they had the perfect opportunity to make that live action, and that would be really because obviously they know each other, during the events of Rogue One, so they have to meet before that. So it would be really cool to see at least that character from Rogue One return um, into live action, and that would be a really cool scene to animate. But definitely looking forward to it. I know the first season was definitely receiving a lot of love. Some people put it up there as like maybe one of the best Star Wars shows to come out, alongside The Mandalorian. So yeah, I mean overall looking forward to it. So
Yeah, I do know Andy Serkis is also going to return in whatever role he played, which is pretty cool because I think Andy Serkis is a great actor in person and obviously in his various other forms. But moving on, we have another show, Star Wars Acolyte, which is also going to release sometime in 2024. And from what people have said about this show, including the directors and people that have worked on it, they said it is like Frozen meets Kill Bill. Those are two very interesting things, two very different things. So, again, we don't know much about it. If you guys don't know, I'm not even going to try to say his name because I don't want to butcher it. But the main character in Squid Games is going to be playing a prominent role in the show. We also got confirmation that the guy that portrays like Chewbacca in the recent Star Wars projects is going to be playing a Wookiee Jedi, which is also very interesting. Um, and again, I think this is another fresh and interesting project from Star Wars, and I'm just excited to see how it is. I don't think it's going to be a fan favorite because it's kind of just out of the blue, but I think it's going to be interesting to see a new side of Star Wars and hopefully move away from things and maybe introduce, a new world in the same world that we know. But yeah, again, we know 2024 and a little bit about the characters. But other than that, I just think it's going to be something interesting, from Lucasfilm and Disney.
right, I mean, for those of you that don't know, Star Wars Acolyte is supposed to take place in the High Republic era, and it's basically supposed to lead to the rise of the Sith. So I mean, obviously, if you know your Star Wars lore, the Sith kind of go like extinct after the era of the Old Republic, and then the High Republic is when the Jedi were at their peak. So that's when like they're at their best. They're at their strongest. They have the most numbers. So obviously, because of that, there are no Sith around. So I mean, that's why they're able to flourish. So apparently, which makes sense because I mean, obviously, like Frozen kind of starts off as like kind of like a happy, like oh, like everything is all peachy and great and everything. And obviously, Kill Bill is like a murder horror movie. So like, it's basically showing how like something so peaceful and prosperous, like in the High Republic, could just like turn dark like real
Yeah.
quick. And so we don't know who any of the Jedi or these Dark Jedi or Sith are going to be. Um, Depending on when it takes place, I don't quote me on this, but I thought they said it takes place about 50 years before. Um, well, I guess technically the Phantom Menace. So like it takes place 50 years before the Skywalker saga. If that's the case, there's a very strong possibility that we could possibly see a live action Darth Plagueis, which would be really cool because obviously we know that that was Darth Sidious's master,
Mhm.
before he ultimately killed him. Because we know that Darth Plagueis was actually still alive in the Phantom Menace, and he is actually killed by Darth Sidious or Emperor Palpatine in the Phantom Menace. Um, so it would be and like the timeline would make sense because I think he would still be around. That's only if like the timeline adds up and it makes sense. But if not, we might see some brand new Sith that we didn't know existed. Um, and yeah, it'll be cool to see how like the so-called like High Republic era comes to an end because obviously at the start of the Clone Wars, we like to think that they're still pretty prosperous. I mean, like in the first Battle of Geonosis, they had like over 200 Jedi, so that there
Yeah.
were still a whole hell of a lot of them out and about. So it definitely is going to be interesting to see like how the eras shift and everything. So yeah, I mean, looking forward to that. I think it's going to be cool to have like a darker themed Star Wars show because I've always liked that kind of like darker side of Star Wars, and I think it makes for good storytelling. So
Yeah. So I mean, moving on with that, the next show we have on our list is Skeleton Crew. This is also going to be a show on Disney Plus. It is a younger cast in it. It's inspired, kind of like by the Goonies. So it's going to be, obviously a younger cast centered around this show, and each episode is actually supposed to be directed by different directors. And the directors of Everything Everywhere All at Once is actually directing one of the episodes. And if you guys don't know, they won like 9 Oscars. So that's pretty cool that they're gonna be directing that. Apparently, a trailer was shown, but it was only shown at the celebration, so I haven't seen anything leaked about it unless I look it up. Again, we don't know much about it, but again, it seems like we're just gonna see kids kind of exploring the galaxy and going on their own little adventure. We might see some high stakes here and there, but I think it's just gonna be a fun adventure show for Star Wars, and I think it's gonna be something fresh that they need. Um, and I'm just excited to see it again. Like all these projects, a lot of them we don't know much about, so it's just gonna be exciting to see when we find out more about it. But both of these are 2024, so we already got 2 TV shows for that year, and it's only like a year away, so it's not that far. Um, but it definitely is. I think it's what's the word I want to use? I think it's kind of cool to see that they are using a young cast for a Star Wars show. Again, I don't know any of the actors or actresses, but it's going to be cool to see them get their start and maybe see more of their stories or characters that we've seen before reintroduced
right.
in this.
So I mean, apparently, from what I know off the top of my head, Skeleton Crew is supposed to also take place, I believe, in the High Republic era. I think.
Oh,
Um, and it's basically supposed to follow a group of kids. I don't think they're force sensitive. They either they are force sensitive or they're not. But I know that it's a group of kids, and basically, from what I was told by my manager and from what I've heard, it's like the pirate group that we were just introduced to in the Mandalorian.
yes.
So like apparently it's gonna involve them, and basically what's gonna happen is that these kids are gonna go like on like an adventure, right? And they're gonna run into trouble, and the trouble that they run into are these pirates, which we've seen in the Mandalorian. And it's basically gonna be like their journey, I guess, on like them escaping and maybe getting to safety. Again, I don't I don't think they're force sensitive. I think it's just a bunch of random kids.
Yeah.
Um, but I mean, if they are force sensitive, it would be cool seeing a bunch of like young Padawans that maybe don't even have their lightsabers like take on a bunch of pirates.
Yeah.
It would be very reminiscent of the Clone Wars, like in that arc where like Ahsoka was traveling with the younglings and they ran into like Hondo and like they kind of had to like
Yeah.
outsmart the pirates that way.
That's
Um,
pretty cool.
Now that I'm actually thinking about it, if it's exactly like that, they just basically they just basically ripped the whole entire arc from the Clone Wars and they're
Yeah.
just using it in a different era. But I still think it would be cool. I really hope the Star Wars community is nice to these kids and they do not bully them
Yes.
out of existence, just like they did with the young Anakin from Phantom Menace. Remember, these are kids; these are probably their first acting roles, like in their career. So please just cut them some slack. I mean, we don't even know what the show is about. We haven't even. Again, they possibly showed a trailer for it at Star Wars Celebrations. I mean, if anybody was there and they happen to watch us, I mean, if you want to kind of break it down for us in the comments, that'd be great. But I mean, eventually they'll probably release a trailer probably towards the end of this year, maybe even in the summer, because I mean, if these shows are coming out next year, they have to give us some sort of content. So, but yeah, I mean, all these shows so far have a lot of promise, and they are starting to explore different eras of Star Wars, which is nice. Um, it's going to be nice to differently explore different characters and different scenarios and um, you know see what goes on. So yeah, I mean, I think so far out of all the shows, Ahsoka's definitely at the top of my list, and then probably Acolyte just because I like the idea behind it, and then I would probably go I'd probably go like Bad Batch Andor and then Skeleton Crew. I mean, I know we haven't talked about Bad Batch, but that's how I would probably like rank the shows out of like what I'm most excited for.
Spoiler alert. I didn't get to that yet, but
Yeah,
fine, whatever.
whoopsie, sorry.
Yeah, so again, I think a lot of these shows are just fresh and new, and I think it's what Star Wars needs. But moving on to our second to last show, um, we have a second season of Star Wars Visions. If you guys don't know, Star Wars Visions is an animated style show. Each episode is different, has a different story behind it. And the first one was from Animated Studios, um, like, not in the sense of regular animation, more as for animes. So obviously a couple of episodes definitely were different from the others. I believe one of the best episodes was the first episode with the Ronin that had some of the coolest animation and one of the best stories in my opinion. This one again, the trailer looks pretty interesting. Honestly, the animation does not look bad, but I do not believe it's again like you were saying. I don't think it's all anime studios. I think it's kind of just some regular animation studios and anime.
They
Because some of
definitely
them
did branch out into like a broader term of animation because I mean, like we said, like season one was pretty much entirely anime studios. Like they were all different anime studios and it
yeah,
was strictly anime. But now they've coined it as like an animation. So like, because I mean I've noticed some of the animation that have been used in like some classic like I think I saw animation that was used in like The Nightmare Before Christmas. So I mean whatever studio
pretty
obviously did that. Um so I mean, we see that I mean, I did see some episodes that did look like an anime, but I think the term animation was like broader, and I think they brought in some like maybe like American-based animation or just animation that's not just exclusive for anime, so to speak.
cool. Yeah.
I
No.
personally enjoyed the first season. I definitely think it was a cooler project that Star Wars worked on. I mean, again, we talked about this a little bit off camera, but I always thought it'd be cool if they did like a Star Wars like anime crossover because I mean, so many fans are so talented, and like all the fan films or like fan things that they put out there. Like I saw this like fan made creation of like this like Star Wars style anime, and it looks so freaking cool. And I was like, first of all, I don't know why these companies aren't hiring these people because I mean, like these look like quality animations. And then second, I mean, obviously we're a big fan of anime and Star Wars, so of course seeing those two things cross over is amazing. And I like how each episode is a different story because that way, like you could still enjoy the show without, I mean, you can pick and choose what episodes you enjoy pretty much.
Yeah.
And you can pick and choose what episodes you watch too, because I mean they're all different stories. So you can watch whatever episode you want. There's really no, story, per se for the whole season, but there are individual stories that are all wrapped up in one episode. So
It's funny because you were talking about, obviously, yeah, I've seen the fan made ones. I'm pretty sure the one you're talking about is the Clone Wars one with that
Yeah,
clone
with
with like the feather on his helmet.
well,
Um,
actually, I wasn't. I did see that one recently, but I was referring to one that was like made like during like the Galactic Civil War, and it was like an anime where it was like TIE fighters and X-wings and stuff like that.
it's pretty cool.
And it was really cool. It focused a lot on like the TIE fighters and like the Empire, which was really cool. It was like purely just anime style, like classic anime opening, like just cool. It looked really cool. But I have seen the latest animation of this clone trooper, and I think it looks great. I mean, again, people are just so talented with what they could do, with technology, and it looks really cool. So I think I don't know who it's being made by on YouTube, but I mean, whenever it comes out, I mean, I'm gonna definitely try to watch it. So
Yeah, I mean, I actually came across the voice actor for that on TikTok, which was
I've been
pretty.
seeing clips of it on TikTok. That's where I've been seeing it, but I mean, I don't know much about it besides the clips I've seen on TikTok. So
But no, I like what you said about I like each episode being a different story because again, it's nice to see something that a show that kind of has nothing to do with anything else, but just stories in between other stories.
right.
And again, it's cool to see different animation because I feel like Star Wars has so many things in it where different forms of animation can really make something pop. Again, like a classic thing like a lightsaber can look like if you watch the first episode of Visions with the Ronin, so cool. But then if you watch another one, in the episode, I only watched like 4 episodes of the first Visions. I remember the one with the brother and sister, ones with like these kids, the first one and something else. Oh, like the planet with I don't remember the people, but um, it definitely is cool, and I'm glad they are doing another season. Again, like I don't think people are super hyped about it, but I just like that it's there, and I like that they are still trying to do new things and incorporate animation more heavily in the Star Wars universe because I think that's where their shows have been the strongest. Recently, obviously the live action shows have been getting to that level, but it is nice to see. So moving on from that, we have our last and final news from Star Wars Celebration of the Night, and that is going to be our last show, which is Bad Batch Season 3. If you guys don't know, we are definitely both fans of this. Our last episode was obviously about the Bad Batch. You have the Funko Pops right there. I have them.
There I got the whole gang right there.
I have them like down in one of. I'm not even gonna try to point. I have them back there somewhere.
It's over there. I
But
don't know. I'm just gonna point. They're probably over there somewhere.
that way. But Bad Batch Season 3 is confirmed for 2024 release date. Don't know when yet. So pretty soon. Obviously, they're probably working on it now because I don't think they rush any of their animation styles. We actually do know quite a bit about it. Not like a crazy amount, but I have seen things on TikTok and on news outlets. Palpatine is supposed to be in it. He is supposed to go. I don't exactly remember the exact base, but he's supposed to go to the
Now
base.
Tannis.
Yeah, he's supposed to go there with Crosshair. I believe we're also supposed to see his guards as well. Um, what's it called? Like an Omega and Crosshair. Um, a lot like we're gonna see a lot of scenes of them together. Obviously, that's confirmed. Apparently, like like somehow people found out lines, and there's a line where she's talking about not leaving him because, he's still her brother. So just expect tears. Wolf is apparently confirmed to be seen in this. Rex is confirmed to come back. Cody is also apparently confirmed to come back.
I also
Apparently,
heard
this
that Cody has his like own little arc, like with the
yes,
season. It's supposed to be kind of sad. So I mean, just again, more tears possibly.
that'll
So
be very cool to see though. And I also saw something about Wrecker fighting a Sarlacc pit. I don't exactly know how that's gonna work, where they're gonna end up, where there is a Sarlacc pit, possibly more tears there. I have no idea. I think this last season is gonna bring a lot of emotion and is probably gonna be the best season. I'm excited to see all these characters and where this goes. This is probably one of my most anticipated projects from this. I would honestly put it second under Ahsoka in my opinion for the shows. Just because I am a huge fan of the animated shows, Bad Batch, and that style, and it's always nice to see more clones. And the sad thing is this is probably our last animated project where we will see clones. Um, I don't know when the next time we will see clones is, at least voiced by D. Bradley Baker. So
It's
yeah,
true.
Ahsoka.
I actually didn't think of that, to be honest.
Yeah, because I mean the Clone Wars is over, and
Yeah.
this was really the only extension of it that wasn't live action. So this might be one of our last animated you know times with the clones, maybe for a couple of years. Who
Mhm.
knows? But this is confirmed to be the last season. Um, maybe we will see more of it in the future, depending how it leads off. But I don't know if they are going to want to milk it like that, depending on how the cards play out. But no, I mean more Palpatine. He looks super cool in the last season of the Bad Batch.
Right.
I'm glad we're gonna see a lot more Crosshair because he is his character is developing so much. Um, I'm excited to see Wolf because we don't really see a lot of Wolf in the Clone Wars, or we see more of him in Rebels mainly. In
So
my
it
opinion.
will probably be like his introduction, like to the clones to speak, because I mean, again, obviously we see him in Rebels, so it'll probably be like his story and how he comes into contact with Rex and Cody, and I think they even said Gregor was in it. So I mean, we literally have the whole group from
Well,
Rebels,
Gregor has been in it.
right? But I'm saying, like, we have all three of
Oh
them
yeah,
coming
yeah,
together. So I mean, we'll see how they all come together, and then how that obviously transitions to Rebels. Obviously, it leaves a lot of questions. We don't know much besides what we've basically just told you. So, but which is good, because I mean, literally the second season just ended like 2 weeks ago, and I
yeah.
really don't want the whole story spoiled for me, because then there's really nothing
No,
to look forward to. Um, so I mean, there's been no announcement for a trailer. I don't know if they showed a trailer at Celebrations. They might have. It seems like
I
that was the theme
believe
this
they
year.
did.
It seems like that was the theme this year for Celebrations. Like, they would just show trailers to people, and they wouldn't show it to like the public. But obviously, people recorded on their phones, and that's how, like, these trailers came out. I mean, obviously they released the Ahsoka trailer, like, worldwide. But any of these other trailers, like, if you saw clips of them, they were because people like took their cell phones and they were just kind of like, like this while they
Yeah, like you see it in between the crowd.
right. But I'm definitely looking forward to it. I mean, Bad Batch has been such a great show, and it's gonna be sad to officially see the Clone Wars come to an end, because, like you said, I mean, this is probably gonna be the last installment of any Clone Wars ever, TV shows or movies that we get, unless they decide to explore it in the future. But I mean,
Yeah.
that's pretty much it. I mean, when at least it comes to the movies and shows that they announce, and I think because we have a decent amount of time, we can kind of just dive into some other announcements they made. I mean, I could do more of the talking on this part, because you weren't able to watch the celebration.
Yeah.
Um, so obviously, to summarize what we just talked about, I mean, they're releasing three new movies. So one of them is going to be called, The Dawn of the Jedi. It's going to focus on the establishment of the first Jedi and how they came to be. The second movie is going to be directed by Dave Filoni, and it's basically going to tie up what they are referring to as the Mandoverse. So basically, the Mandalorian, the Book of Boba Fett, and Ahsoka. And people believe that it's going to be the end of the New Republic era. It's going to be like the final battle between the New Republic and the Imperial Remnancy. And then obviously that's going to lead into the Rise of the First Order and the sequel trilogy. So like that's kind of how the timeline works for that movie. And the third and final movie is going to take place 15 years after the events of the Rise of Skywalker. It's going to bring back Rey Palpatine, you know, not Rey Skywalker, Rey Palpatine, or just Rey. And it's basically going to be a story about her rebuilding the Jedi Order, which again literally makes no sense, because Luke was literally telling her, like, in the sequels, like, oh yeah, just don't become a Jedi, don't rebuild the order, like it's time to let it die. And now all of a sudden she's rebuilding the Jedi Order. So I mean, I don't know what that's about, but I guess we'll find out. We could probably do like a whole like episode of just like breaking down like this news, because it's definitely one of the more interesting movies to be announced. Let's put it that way. But
I mean, I just hope as we find out more about it, it makes it better because again, like when we talk about it, does it make a lot of sense? No, not really. But again, Star Wars has seemed to surprise us in the past couple of years. So but again, like I feel like the word of the day is interesting because I feel like all this stuff is just we have no idea what is gonna go on, and we
right.
just have to wait and see.
I mean, it is possible that I've heard some theories that Ray might be pregnant. So
No, I hope not because
and I don't know how that works. But
personally,
again,
I don't want to see more of that.
it's a whole other discussion, and it's just
Let's just
so.
let
I mean, we'll
Ray
see.
be
I
Ray.
mean, we'll
Let's go
see.
back to the beginning, have her be a scavenger, and just chill.
I guess
That's
we'll
what
have
I
to.
would do.
I guess we'll have to wait and see. So, I mean, it's good
Yeah.
that there's really not much information around these movies because it allows us to kind of like speculate. So we don't really know. And then obviously, we just went over all the shows. So we have, the Ahsoka official trailer, and when it's going to be releasing. We have, Star Wars Acolyte, Star Wars Skeleton Crew, Andor season 2. We have the Bad Batch third and final season, and we have Star Wars Vision season 2, and that's pretty much it for all the shows. So a lot of content to look forward to. I love how they're jumping in between the eras. It's gonna be cool to see stuff from the High Republic. Because I think Acolyte and like Skeleton Crew would be like the first like animated things for High Republic because all of it's been books. So
Yeah.
just to wrap up the rest of the news, in under 10 minutes. So when it came to the High Republic, they basically were just talking about the newest phase of their books. Basically, they broke down the High Republic into 3 phases when it came to the books, phase 1, 2, and 3. If you don't know what the High Republic looks like, this is actually a book from the High Republic. It's called Midnight Horizon. So this actually, I believe, takes place in the first or second phase of
Very cool.
the High Republic era. So they were just announcing a bunch of like phase 3 books and when they were going to be releasing and stuff. So we are definitely going to be getting a lot more High Republic stuff in book form, as well as animated. Obviously, Jedi Survivor is coming out at the end of this month. So definitely pick that up. It's going to be really fun, and I'm looking forward to seeing how the reviews and stuff are on it. Um, Galaxy's Edge is still Galaxy's Edge. If you haven't been there, please go check it out. Check out the Galactic Star Cruiser. I heard that cruise is awesome, and they touched a little bit upon that. Obviously, everybody's heard the announcements for Star Wars Lego and Funko Pops when it comes to the 40th anniversary of Return of the Jedi. So they touched upon that for a little bit, and everything looks really cool. So I mean, if you haven't seen any images of it now, go look it up because it looks sick. And that's pretty much it. They released a few Black Series figures for the Bad Batch and for some other characters throughout Star Wars. They released a 332nd Clone Trooper helmet in the Black Series, which looks really cool.
That's
If
cool. I
you,
didn't
if
know
you haven't yeah if you haven't seen that, look it up. It looks sick. And they had a huge creature panel where they basically showed you like how they make these creatures for Star Wars and how they're operated by people, and that was really cool to see. They did like a tiny skit, and it looked really cool. So, but yeah, I mean that's basically the raw version in a nutshell. So, you know, I mean that's pretty much it, guys. I mean we're not going to get another Star Wars celebration until 2025. We got a lot of stuff to look forward to. I mean we're definitely going to be doing episodes on the future of Star Wars and these projects. I mean when trailers come out for these things, we'll break them down. When
that.
shows end, we'll discuss them, and then yeah, I mean we just gotta be along for the ride, really. So I think this is gonna tap out our conversation on Star Wars for a little bit. Um, but this is a nice way of kind of ringing in our Star Wars conversations and basically getting an idea of like where the future of Star Wars is going. And I think it's going in a pretty bright place. I think we have a lot to look forward to. Obviously, it's a little too early to judge, but from what we heard, I think it's going to be pretty cool. So I'm definitely looking forward to it and exploring more Star Wars. So
Yeah.
thank you guys for coming out today and enjoying another wonderful episode of Two Sons Podcast, where we went over Star Wars Celebration for 2023, which was held in Europe, and yeah, really cool. Maybe we'll get there one day, and just gotta keep hoping and dreaming, and I mean, anything's possible. So
If they
definitely
do it
would
something like semi-affordable.
right. It definitely will be cool to go one day. But thank you
Yeah.
guys for coming out and listening. For those of you that don't know and didn't listen to our previous episodes, we just started a YouTube channel. It is under Two Sons Podcast. That is Sons with an O and not a U because we are two brothers.
Sir.
There are 2 videos up there so far on our breakdown of the Bad Batch. So it's usually the videos come out like a part 1 and part 2 just because of the way we record. So these 2 episodes will come out tonight on Wednesday, and they will be 2 parts. The audio version that you guys been listening to will be available tomorrow morning. My brother will probably post it sometime tonight to be scheduled to release tomorrow. So we're on like Spotify, Apple Podcasts, podcasters, wherever you listen to your podcast news. Besides, all the podcasting platforms, we are available on social media, on Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook at Two Sons Podcast. Again, that is with an O, not a U, because we are two brothers.
Yes, sir.
Um, and yeah, I mean, I always have a blast talking about Star Wars and kind of just shooting the shit, so to speak. I mean, I love these laid back episodes. Not really much go into it. And
Yeah.
it's cool to record these now where we could actually see each other's faces, so we could like see our reactions, and it makes the conversation more personal.
Mhm.
So I mean, Joey, before we close it out for the rest of the night, I mean, why don't you speak to our fans and just show them some love.
Yeah, I mean, once again, like we say all the time, excuse me, thank you guys for coming in. God, oh my God, excuse me. Thank you. Wow. Thank.
God, he's so choked up he can't even get the words out.
I know. Whew. Thank you guys for coming out to another episode of Two Sons Podcast. I just want to give a shout out to our audience. I believe we have another country added to our list, as in Mexico. Shout out to whoever is listening from there. That is great that we have another country added to our list, and it always makes me so happy that we keep expanding. I'm glad that we keep expanding on social media. Again, we just built a YouTube channel. Again, Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, all under Two Sons Podcast. That Sons with an O, not a U, because like my brother said, we are two brothers. I am in the process right now of trying to create a film blog where you should be able to access it right from Spotify. So if I can try to get that done, I will in the upcoming weeks or so, and see how I can actually work that out. And again, the overall goal is just for us to keep growing, and you guys keep coming out and showing some love. Um, I do see some fluctuation in our episodes. Like our Bad Batch one is actually not as popular as I would have thought it was. But again, people like other things more than others, and it happens.
Right.
But just again, thank you to all the followers that come out and listen.
I just
I
want
am
to I
excited.
want to give out a quick shout out before we run out of time to somebody that commented on one of our YouTube videos. Their username is the Blue Morpho 6640. And they commented on our second part of the Bad Batch episode, and I think that was really cool because he had a lot of cool things to say, and he kind of gave us his own theory on like what would happen in the season finale. So I think that was really
Yeah,
cool. And I mean, if you guys have any of your own comments or concerns, when you watch the videos, I mean, please feel free to comment. I mean, I would love to shout you guys out and talk about what you commented and stuff like that. So yeah, I mean, just don't be afraid to show us your love and what you have to think.
yeah, and I think I'm going to try to set a goal for the YouTube channel. We'll figure out the logistics later on, but I think it'd be cool to figure out a goal where we can do a poster giveaway, because as you guys know, I have tons of posters, and I'll probably make a list of maybe 5 to 10 different ones that people could pick from. And if we get a certain amount of subscribers or just listens on an episode, we could do a giveaway. So if we get enough people interacting, that would be awesome. Again, that is our goal here. My goal is to get a personal poster printed out and hang it like right here, get clothes made, whatever it is. But once again, because we only have a minute left, thank you guys for coming out and listening to another episode of Two Sons Podcast. This will actually be our 39th episode once I post it. So we are almost to 40 episodes, which is crazy, almost halfway to 100. So once again, thank you guys for coming out. Check out those socials, all on the Two Sons Podcast. That's Sons with an O, not a U. Be safe, be happy, do whatever you want, but don't be stupid. Have a great night. Have a good morning. Have a good afternoon. And may the force be with you guys.
May the force be with you all.